So this is a well-known problem. It is called as coin change problem. So the question is saying that we have got infinite supply of coins of following denominations. What is the meaning of denomination? I think you would know. Like in India, the denominations are 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 50, 100, 200, 500, 1000 and 2000. These are the denominations, like, right? Similarly, let's say certain denominations are there and they are given to you. So let's say this is the array that represents denomination C1, C2, so on till Cm. And corresponding to any denomination, let's say this denomination was 1, so you have got infinite 1 rupee coins. If let's say this denomination was 50, you have got infinite 50 rupee coins. Okay, now once you have got that, then an input to you is an integer n. So basically you have to tell me minimum number of coins required to add up to n. What is the minimum number of coins that you would want to create n rupees, or their sum should be equal to n? This is the requirement of the question. Okay, let us take a quick example. Let's say my denominations are 1, 2 and 3. These are the denominations of my coin and I need to make 4 rupees. Can somebody tell me minimum number of coins that I can take and make 4 rupees in this case? Yeah, 2. So if I just take a 3 rupee coin and a 4 rupee coin, they are adding up to 4. I can also take a 2 rupee coin and another 2 rupee coin and it can add up to 4. You can't just have a single coin and make this much amount. So here the output is exactly equals to 2 because minimum number of coins that you needed was 2. Okay, so how do I solve this problem? Can it be done in a greedy manner? Yes or no? Forget about DP for a while. Tell me one thing. Let's say your denominations are 1, 2, 3, 7 and 10. Somebody asks you to make let's say n equals to 25 rupees. Okay. So if let's say you are trying to solve it in a greedy manner, you know that these are the denominations that you have, okay, and you want to make 25 rupees. Now to reduce the number of coins required to make 25, what will be the first coin that you would want to take in a greedy manner? Yes, you would want to take that coin which has the highest denomination, right? So you would want to take this, and how many instances of this you would take? That would be 25 by 2. So sorry, 25 by 10. So you would take 2 instances of 10 rupee coin, right? Yes or no? This is what you have been thinking, everyone, right? Now the remaining sum is, because you have taken 20, so remaining sum is 5. Okay, so for 5, if you try out this 7, 5 by 7 is 0. So you would take 0 instances of 7 rupee coin. Since you have taken 0 instances of 7 rupee coin, the remaining value of n does not change. Now you would do it for 3. So 5 upon 3 is equals to 1. So you will take exactly 1 instance of 3 rupee coin. Now the remaining value of n is 2, and now you come over here. So you would take 1 instance of 2 rupee coin. So you have taken 2 instances of this, 1 instance of this and 1 instance of this. So here, using the greedy fashion, you have been able to solve this problem. Is it clear that how I have applied my greed over here? Yes or no? Simple enough, right? So first I tried to pick the highest denomination for as many times as possible. Then I tried for next, then for next, and then so on and on and on and on, right? But before that, do you believe this approach will always work? Let us do one thing. Let me ask you for a test case. Can you think of a test case randomly, quickly, where you feel that this greedy approach will fail? Everyone, get onto your pen and paper and think of a test case. So Prashant is saying that he wants to make 10 rupees and the denominations are 3, 4 and 5. Guys, will the greedy approach fail here? I do not think it will fail. Will it fail? It will not fail, because you can take 2 instances of 5 rupee coin. That is your optimal answer, and that is the answer according to greedy approach also, right? Okay, let me give you an example. So let's say the denominations are 1, 3, 4 and 5, and n is equals to 7. Use your greedy approach and see how many coins you are requiring over here. 3, right? And can you tell me their names? So you have taken 5, 1 and 1, right? Great. So you can take, according to greedy approach, you will be forced to take one instance of this and then 2 instances of 1 and 1. But I would say that, hey, just take 3 and 4. Right? So that is the reason this greedy approach is not going to work. And also it was not backed by proof of correctness, because if you are taking the highest denomination every time, it might so happen that you get a remaining sum which becomes something that cannot be created by, let's say, the values that are coming after 1. It might so happen that you get a value that can be created just by considering this 1 multiple times, right? So this is in no way a logical thing to do, okay? So here I would want to, ideally I would want to try out all the approaches, okay? All the approaches and see that if it is going to work out for me or not. So certain times there are certain denominations where it actually works, and certain times it doesn't work, and the proof of that is mathematical. You can't prove it just like that, okay? Because every relation that you get is a kind of recurrence relation, right? And any recurrence relation can be solved mathematically, okay? So we'll not go into that, okay? But the only point is that if your denominations vary, it will not work. But for a fixed denomination, for certain kinds of denominations, the greedy approach might work. DP will obviously always work, right? Because in DP you explore all the possibilities, and out of all those possibilities you pick the best one. That is the good thing about DP. So if your constraints are such that you can explore all the possibilities by memoizing them, then DP is always going to give you best solution, because DP is brute force. DP is brute force recursion and nothing else. So if the amount that I have to make is n, okay, and the number of denominations that I have are m, okay, then how many choices do you have to pick your first coin? How many choices do I have to pick my first coin? I have got, just like the last problem, think like the last problem. I have got m different choices, right? Very good. Just like the last problem where there was a line segment of length n and any segment could be of length x, y or z. So at any point of time, the segment that you could cut out could be of length x, y or z. Similarly here, the coin that you can pick at any instant of time can either be C1, C2, so on till Cm. So if you pick C1, the remaining amount of money which you have to make is n minus C1. If you pick C2, then the remaining amount of money that you have to make is n minus C2, and so on and on. If you pick Cm, the remaining amount of money to be made is n minus Cm. And now just think of it like this. Here you have just picked 1, 1 coins, right? Corresponding to this case also you would have picked 1 coin, corresponding to this case also, this case also. Now if you know that what is the answer for this, so by that I mean, if let's say this is the money that you have to make and these are the denominations that are available. So if the answer for this is A1, the answer for this is A2, and answer for this is AM, then what will be my answer for N? I have to minimize, right? I have to minimize. So my answer should be, can somebody write that? It should be minimum of all plus 1, yes or no? That is how it is going to look like. 1 plus min of all these things, min of A1, A2, so on till AM, right? So do you see that how many transitions are happening over here from any state? What is the number of transitions, that maximum number of transitions that can happen from any state? This is order m, right? Order m transitions are happening from any state. Okay, once I have said this, can somebody quickly comment on the time complexity before I go ahead and even solve it? How many states are going to be there? N states are going to be there. And from every state there are m transitions. That means that to solve any problem, order m time is required. So it will be order of n into m. Now again, even in this question, the important thing is that certain times what can happen is that your remaining value of n was, let's say, 2, and there was a denomination called 5, and when you cut out that denomination 5, the remaining sum is negative. So whenever remaining sum is negative, what would you want to do? you should return plus infinity over here. Why? Because there is no way you can create a negative amount of money from positive denominations, right? So here, because you are taking min of everything, you would want this not to contribute at all. So you would want this thing to return infinity. Whenever it is negative, simply return infinity. Is that clear to all? Yes or no? Right? I'll tell you one important thing over here. Certain times what can happen is, guys, what you are doing is you are returning 1 plus min of different things, and then this again, whatever you have over here, this can be 1 plus 1 plus something, and then again 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus something, and then let's say you return some int underscore, here you are returning int underscore max. If you return int underscore max, certain times what you might end up getting would be integer overflow. Are you getting my point, guys? Yes or no? Others, right? So how to avoid that? Can somebody suggest how to avoid that? So there you can have the return type as long or long. If you are returning int underscore max, have the return type as long or long, and see if the number of coins or the number of coins sometimes can actually be int underscore max or not. Generally it would not happen because your size of array would not be like that. It would not be of around int underscore max, right? But to avoid overflow, you have to keep the return type of your method as long, and your DP array, which is storing the solutions, should also be of long, so that this overflow does not happen at all. Is that making sense to everyone? Yes or no? And another way is what Manish has suggested. So call only if positive to avoid this. Yes. So what he is saying is, if he sees that n minus ci is positive, greater than equals to 0, then only he is going to make that calls. Even this is a good approach. Even this will ensure that this overflow kind of thing will not happen. Is everyone getting that? Yes or no? So here you do not have to deal with overflows at all, right? And what would be your favorable termination condition? So certain times what would happen is that your remaining sum becomes 0, or your remaining amount becomes 0. So what would you want to return for 0? So you want to make 0 rupees. To make 0 rupees, how many coins do you need? You need 0 coins. So you would exactly return 0. Okay. So you can write your code something like this. Long min coins. Okay. And let's say your current value is n. So if you see that n is 0, simply return 0. And if n is negative, in that case return int underscore max. Okay. Otherwise what you are supposed to do? First you need to do a mem check, which is check in your memorization array. So if you see that dp of n is not equals to, what would you initialize it to? You can initialize it to -1, because every value that you have are positive. Okay. And if they are not solved, they will be -1. In that case return dp of n. Otherwise your dp of n would be 1 plus min of total number of these transitions. And when I talk about these transitions, there can be many transitions. There can be m transitions. So in order to make those m transitions, do I need a for loop over here? Yes or no? Yes, I need a for loop, right? Are others getting it? Yes or no? Anyone who is having any recursion related difficulty should revise the recursion lectures as soon as possible. Okay. So what I should do is I would initialize my dp of n to -infinity. I would initialize it to infinity actually, because I have to minimize the value, right? And then I would iterate across my denominations. So let's say the denominations that I have are from 0 to m-1. So what I would do is dp of n is equals to min of dp of n, comma, you get a coin of ci value, and when you get that, then the remaining value is n minus ci. Okay. So this is the way in which your dpn keeps on getting updated, and eventually you can return dp of n. Negatives would anyways get handled over here. Okay, so sometimes what can happen that you want to make n equals to 5 and the denominations that you have are denominations of coin are 2 and 4. Can you make 5 rupees if you have denominations of 2 and 4? You cannot make, right? So if your input is something like this, what do you think your code will return? It would return a value greater than int underscore max, right? Greater than or equal to int underscore max. Not just int underscore max, but it can be greater than also int underscore max, because many ones would have got added before that int underscore max is getting returned from a bottom leaf. Is that making sense to everyone? So if such is the case, then question will tell you that, hey, if it is not possible, then what to do? So from your driver method, which is your main method, if you see that, let's say the return value is val, and if you see that val happens to be greater than equals to int underscore max, you simply return not possible. So you simply return -1 or type not possible, whatsoever it is. So this is the case that you have to carefully handle. And don't you think such kind of thing could have happened in the previous question also? Yes or no? It could have happened, right? Where you were cutting off x, y and z. Certain times your x, y and z are such that you cannot cut that line segment into pieces of x, y and z, right? And how many can write bottom top for this? Can you write bottom top for this? I think you can write well. Okay, so again, when you write bottom top, your dp of I is 1 plus min of dp of I minus c0 comma dp of I minus c1 so on till dp of I minus cm minus 1. Okay, this is the value of your dp of I. Now if any of these values are negative, you would not consider them, right? In that question, what will be not possible condition? I think that question asks you to cut into pieces of length x, y and z, right? So certain times, let's say you have this case only, let's say n is equals to 5, here this case only, n is equals to 5, and you are allowed to cut into 2, 4 and let's say 7. So can you cut it into 2, 4 and 7? Can you do that? You cannot do that, right? So in such case, your code would return int underscore min or something that is smaller than int underscore min. Okay, I think greater than int underscore min, because again you are adding 1 to it. Does it make sense to everyone? Yes or no? So these are the cases which could happen and you have to take care of that. Coming back to this, I was saying that your dp of I is dependent upon these things, and while writing bottom top approach, you would not try to look out for I minus c of x if this value is negative, right? And I think this you can control in your code, right? Can everyone do this? Yes or no? Can everyone write bottom top approach for this? So similar to this, you would initialize your dp of 0 to 0, and then you would try solving from 1 to n, and you would initialize your dp of I the way I initialize over here to infinity, and then you would consider denominations c0 to cm minus 1, and then one by one you would check the value of 1 plus dp of I minus this, and if it happens to be smaller than dpi, you would update dpi only if it is positive. If it is not negative, you should break, because higher denominations will lead to more negative values of I minus ci, I minus cx, right? And finally you will return dp of n. That will be your answer.